Welcome to episode 52 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda, Butterworth, and today we continue with the Seven Against Thebes, with the tale of Creon's resolve. After the first outburst of jubilation was over, they thought about burying their dead. Since both the sons of Oedipus had fallen, Creon, their uncle, became the king of Thebes, and as such it was his duty to see to the burial of his nephews. He had once arranged a solemn funeral for Eteocles, the defender of the city, and had him borne to his grave with the honors due to a king. All the citizens of Thebes walked in the funeral procession, but the body of Polynices lay unburied and abandoned. Creon had a herald proclaim throughout Thebes that the enemy of his country, who had come to destroy the city with fire, to sate himself with the blood of his people, to drive the gods from the land and enslave all those who had been slain, was not to be mourned, that he was to be denied a grave, that his body should be left for the birds and beasts to devour. He also commanded the citizens to have a care that his wishes were obeyed, and set special guards near the corpse so that none might steal or bury it. The penalty for attempting either was death by stoning in a public place of the city. Antigone heard these orders, which seemed so cruel to her, and remembered the promise she had given her dying brother. With a heavy heart, she went to her sister Ismene and tried to persuade her to help remove the body of Polynices. But Ismene was all soft and delicate, with no drop of heroic blood in her veins. "Sister," she answered, and her eyes swam with tears, "have you forgotten the terrible death of our father and mother? Has the memory of our brother's destruction already faded from your mind, that you want to drag us, who are left, to a like end?" Coldly, Antigone turned from her timid sister. "I do not want your help," she said. "I shall bury my brother unaided, and when this is done, I shall gladly die and lie beside him whom I loved in life." Soon after, one of the guards approached King Creon with hesitant step and troubled face. "The body you had us watch has been buried," he cried. "We do not know who did this, and whoever it was has escaped. We cannot understand how it was possible. When the guard on day duty told us what had happened, we were stunned at the thought. Only a thin layer of dust covered the body, only just enough to be accepted as burial by the gods of the underworld. There was no sign that a shovel had been plied, no trace of wagon wheels. We began to quarrel about it, each accusing the other of the deed, and finally it came to blows. But in the end, we decided it would be best, O king, to tell you what had occurred, and the lot of being messenger fell upon me." Creon's anger was great. He threatened to have all the guards hanged unless they delivered the evildoer into his hands without delay. At his command, they removed the earth from the body and resumed their vigil. From early morning until noon, they sat in the hot sun. Then, of a sudden, a storm blew up and filled the air with dust. The guards were still pondering the meaning of this sign when they saw a girl approach, lamenting softly, like a bird who finds the nest empty. In one hand, she carried a bronze pitcher. Quickly, she stooped and filled it with dust, and then cautiously drew near the body. She did not see the men who were on a mound at some distance, since the stench of the body, unburied so long, sickened them at closer quarters. When she reached Polynices, she poured dust upon him 3 times in lieu of burial, and at that, the guards hurried to the spot, seized her, and dragged the doer, caught in the very act, to their king. Antigone and Creon. Creon instantly saw that it was his niece, Antigone. "Foolish girl," he cried, "now you stand with bowed head. Will you confess, or do you deny having done what they accuse you of?" "I confess," said the girl, and lifted her head proudly. "And did you know the orders?" The king continued questioning her, and knowing them, dared transgress them so boldly? I knew them, Antigone answered calmly and firmly, but those orders did not come from one of the immortal gods. And I know other commands that are not of today, nor of yesterday, but hold for all eternity, and none can say from whence they were given. No mortal may transgress these without incurring the wrath of the gods, and it was such a command that forbade me leave the dead son of my mother unburied. If this action of mine seems foolish to you, then he is a fool who accuses me of folly. And do you think your stubborn spirit cannot be broken? Asked Creon, angered still more by the girl's defiance. The most inflexible blade is the first to crack. Whoever is in another's power ought not to show insolence. You can do no more than kill me, Antigone answered. Why delay? My name will not become inglorious through death. I know, moreover, that only the fear of you is keeping my fellow citizens silent. In their hearts they all approve of what I have done, for a sister's first and foremost duty is to cherish her brother. Upon Creon cried, Well then, if cherish him you must, cherish him in Hades. And he was about to bid the servants seize her, when Ismene, who had heard of her sister's capture, stormed into the hall. She seemed to have shaken off her weakness and timidity. Bravely she went up to her uncle, declared she had known of the burial, and demanded to die together with Antigone. But she reminded Creon that Antigone was not merely his sister's daughter, but the betrothed of his own son, Haemon, as well, so that by killing her he was depriving the heir to the throne of marriage with the one he loved. Creon did not deign to answer, but had his servants take both the sisters to the inner chambers of the palace. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales, many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.